Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning. Wanted to do a video today. I've been trying to do some teaching from scriptures and stuff, but I wanted to share a video this morning about my day yesterday, about some encounters that I had. The reason I want to share them, just to let you guys know, every day down here, there's a ton of encounters, and I'd be doing videos every day seriously about encounters, and I mean encounters where talking about Christ and just crazy things that happen down here, just because I have time to be out and about. But I want to share about yesterday because I believe there's a lesson in it. Because I had the lesson, so I want to pass it on to you guys. So yesterday morning, was doing some things here, and Shayna ended up not needing the truck, so I decided to go down and do some more shark fishing. And so I went down there, and my one buddy was down there, and it was him and I. And the water was choppy, the wind was blowing in, there were storms around us but not really there, and no bites, you know, there's really nothing going on. Then another buddy came, and but then a bunch of people started coming up with rods, and pretty soon, I mean, there's still no bites, but there were lines everywhere, the wind was blowing, and I was like, man, this is not just because it's a bad day, but I feel like I'm fished out. And normally I'd ride it out, but I left early. I had a couple things. I went down to Home Depot, got some stuff, and came home, and I decided I couldn't take it anymore. And my stylist in PA, hopefully she's not mad, I don't think she will be, but I ended up deciding to go get a haircut. First of all, when we land in PA on Wednesday, it'll be like 1 in the afternoon. We got a drive from there to head over to our friend's place. We want to maximize our time with them before heading up to Break the Chains. So I know I just spent time on this video explaining why I got a haircut. But anyhow, so I go on, I go to Supercuts, and I go on the app I have on my phone. I find the one near me, which is right up the street here in Spring Hill, and there's two artists, two stylists available. One I won't even give the names, but there's two names, and I hit the one, and I see that there's openings, you know, and that, and I'm like, let me hit this other one. And then there was an opening like an hour and a half later. I think it was around 2 that I did this. It was around 3:30 was my appointment. So I had to get a shower and stuff. I said, okay, that works. Boom, I hit that, and jump in the shower, head up there a little early, actually, fairly early. It didn't take me that long. I got there a little bit after 3, and the girl that I set up the appointment with, she was cutting a woman's hair, finishing a woman's hair, and she said, do you have an appointment? I said, yeah. She said, did you specifically ask for me, or? And I said, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean, because I knew she was busy, I could see that. And she said, okay, then this other girl will take care of you, you know. And this girl comes out from behind the back, and she's like, you know, is this your first time? And I said, well, yeah, I moved from PA and stuff, and because I'm probably in the system, like I'm sure they have a system that's around. But anyhow, so I want to tell you though, I was kind of partial when I saw that name, the first name. I was partial. Something was drawing me to make that appointment, and I thought it might have been the Lord. But anyhow, and who knows, but I'll tell you how it ended up. So we sit down, and the lady that she's finishing, the other girl was finishing, sit down, and the stylist said, you know, so are you new to the area? And I said, yeah, I just moved here from, it's easier to say near Philly, near Philadelphia. And the lady's like, where at in Philly? I'm from Erie, we're all from different places. And we had this conversation. And of course, I have my Property of Jesus shirt on, which brings up a conversation. Well, it turns out that this girl that's cutting my hair has immigrated from the Ukraine when she was a child. They actually fled from there, from communism, from the craziness, and she is a believer and is much like Shana and I's belief. She is very, would you say, she wants to stick to. She believes and wants to stick to obedience to Christ. She understands grace. Believe me, if anybody does, this girl, her and her family, they were going to church. The church family didn't understand their situation, and so the family decided that they would just do church together. They would just start praying for one another, and they basically started an upper room prayer movement in their family because they had trouble finding people, one who could understand the Ukraine way and things. And so we had this amazing conversation. She had a lot of questions because in a sense they don't have a lot of help around here. She just got engaged. She had some questions about that, and it was deep. But here's what I want to tell you. The original stylist, I was looking, how you're sitting there getting your hair cut in the mirror. She kept giving the stink eye. And at one point, she went back and turned on the radio and cranked it up. We weren't like sinners, and we were having a normal conversation, but it was about faith. And this girl cranks this thing up, and she comes back and gives us the stink eye in the mirror. I could see it, and we don't care. We don't care. I could care less. And man, it was whatever was going on in her, it was agitating her, our conversation and our ability. It was like we knew each other. Well, it's how it is when the Spirit of God is present and we both share that Spirit. Yeah, it was pretty intense. So we got talking for quite a while, and at one point then, the radio wasn't enough to shut us up. So she went into the back. After this lady was done, there was a guy came in, was waiting for a haircut. And she went back into the corner, and she went to grab her broom, and it knocked all this stuff down. It's like, kapow, 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 like stuff was falling. And I was looking to see what it was, and she was like looking at us. I mean, I'm telling you, man, if no one else would have been in there, I probably would have addressed her and kicked out that demonic spirit from that girl that did not want to hear about Christ. I mean, dude, listen, if you're like, well, I don't want to hear about it either. Well, that's demonic. Because listen, our flesh, while we reject Christ, if you get real angry when you hear about Jesus, there's probably some demonic oppression. Because in a sense, if you're not a believer, it doesn't matter about Jesus. He's no threat to you right now at all. Actually, he's your salvation. I mean, he will be a threat eventually. It talks about that. But the bottom line is, anybody that I've ever saw this angry about Jesus, it's some kind of demonic thing. So she's acting up. Anyhow, we get done. And, I tell the girl, listen, I get my hair cut probably now, especially starting work, like once a month, I'll get it cut. I'll be back. We need to, keep in touch. I got her a copy of my book, gave her a card. I said, listen, my wife and I would be glad to sit down with your fiance and you, talk to you guys. Amazing. It was amazing. Both of them are have a purity pledge that they've kept, and they're like engaged. They're this close to the marriage, and just, you know, they're struggling. They're spending more time together. So I said I would be praying for them. It's got a lot of stuff, you know. It was really refreshing. So anyhow, I give her that stuff, and I jump in my truck, and I back up, and there's a GNC beside there, and there's a drink, pre-workout drink that I drink before I work out and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I don't think they have it. And I started to pull away, and I just felt drawn to pull in and walk in there. And I thought it was for this pre-workout. So I go in, really literally next to each other, and I walk in there, and there's a guy working. He goes, hey, can I help you with anything? And I start talking about this pre-workout, and he's like, yeah, we don't have that here. We do have a flavor of that online, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, what kind of pre-workout do you need? And I told him, well, I use it to work out, but I also use it when I travel. It's a quick hit of energy. Boom, I can get, if I don't sleep well, I can use that. It's a healthy way to get energy. There is some caffeine in it, but there's a lot of other vitamins and amino acids and stuff that actually stir up and wake you up and get you going. And he says, traveling. So we started talking about ministry. Man, I talked to this cat for half an hour. Here, it's his family that owns this thing. His mom is sick and getting worse. They're going through some stuff, and we got to talk about Jesus. I got to share my story, showed him, you know, he's like, wow, that's a crazy story. Told him about the book. He said, where can I get it? I pulled it up online. And by the way, right now, if you want to get a copy, you need to go to Amazon. It's like $3 and something. Walmart, it's still $9-10. Barnes & Noble, it's still normal price. Amazon has the in, and I would rather you have a copy for $3 and something than not have a copy at all. The more people get this book in their hands, the better. Not just, I get absolutely nothing from a $3 and something copy, and I don't even care. I just want people to read about the grace of God and how nothing, you're never too far from his hand, from his reach. As long as you got breath and you're able to turn around and repent of your sins, he is more than able and more than willing to redeem whatever you got going on. He is a rescuer. Anyhow, so I share my story with this guy. The guy tells me his name, his mom's name. We talk about prayer. There's times when our eyes are welled up. You know, it was just a crazy, awesome Jesus encounter. So I drive away, and I'm like, wow, that was amazing, Lord. That was absolutely amazing. But something struck me. And what struck me was this. Those encounters happened despite my decisions. See, I picked one stylist, and I thought for sure that was the stylist I needed. And you know what? We could argue the fact and say, well, maybe you were supposed to talk to her because she needed Jesus. Believe me, she heard what she needed to hear, but God had other plans. But I went with God's plans. See, I didn't say, well, I'm hearing from God. Everything I hear is from God. I got to do this because this is what I believe. I was flexible to understand that, hey, whatever, man, God's in it. And he was in it. And I drove away knowing that I knew that GNC didn't have that. I knew it. I knew it because I've been to the GNCs. I know they don't carry that specific drink. And but something drew me in. And all right, I had stuff to do here. I pulled in and listened to him despite my not wanting to go. So the lesson in this is be flexible, because what you think is God might not be God. It's not about us. It's not about having our way. I will tell you that having your way, thinking that you're always right, having things the way you want them to be, or even having things the way you think God wants them to be, is prideful. And humility, and it's so funny because I had that conversation earlier, humility is where God needs you to be so he can use you. I believe wholeheartedly, if I would have stuck to my guns, stayed with that first stylist, not went past GNC, not stopped in there, that I would have missed out on two very powerful, and these encounters aren't just a once and done. Like, there's a relationship established with both of these people. And man, like, it humbled me when I left to think, like, wow, God, I missed this. Like, I was sure, because I really do weigh whatever you want, Lord, and what I think I hear, I go with. And I missed those two, literally. But obeying and, okay, Lord, whatever, and doing his thing led to two powerful encounters. So, if you, whether you're a 1 day or 1 hour believer or a 40-year pastor or preacher, I'm here to tell you, if you're not humble enough to go with the flow and change things up, you are missing out on probably some of the best fruit that God has for you. It says that our good works are wrought out in him. He's already prepared them. Little did I know, long before I even had hair to cut, God already knew that those two encounters would take place. So that's my lesson today. Be flexible. Listen to the Lord, but be flexible when your plans change. Don't throw a hissy fit. Don't I'm sticking to my guns because I know what I do works. What I do works is probably the most prideful thing I've ever heard in my life. Because God is not a systematic God. God is not a Methodist. God is not this, and this. It always works. I don't know, bro. You might get some fruit from it, but who knows, man? It could be fake fruit. I don't know. I'm not saying that it never works, but just letting you know that being flexible, even if you miss it, be humble enough to say, all right, Lord, and then just go right into obedience with him. Listen to what he's doing and move with him. All right, guys, we're at 18 minutes. I talked too long. I probably lost some of you, but hey, that's on you. That's not me. Yeah, be flexible, even when it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to work out. Be humble, be flexible, and God can use you. He uses this knucklehead every day, and I'm very grateful and glad that he does. All right, guys, peace. Be out, be safe, be out there in the world, not of the world, but in the world, giving them Jesus, and enjoy your weekend. All right, peace. See you later.